White House Press Secretary Hogan Gidley, who joins me now. All right, good evening, Hogan. You know, I am fired up over this border wall stuff. And we've got Lindsey Graham, Mark Meadows, Jim Jordan, Matt Gaetz. They're all here. They're all ready to get on board and get on the record. What is going on in the White House as it relates to the border wall?
Well, Janine, thank you so much for having me on tonight. And I can just share your passion for this issue, and the president shares that passion as well, and so do a majority of the American people. This has been a crisis in the making for the better part of 40 years. You played the clip of Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. I was standing behind Nancy Pelosi when she made those claims that the president did not have the votes. He did. I watched Chuck Schumer. I watched Nancy Pelosi as they made nonverbal cues back and forth to each other, refusing to make eye contact with the president. They knew it wasn't true then. They know it's not true now. This country is facing a crisis. The American president, Donald Trump, ran on that crisis, addressing that crisis. He's ready to take it on, face forward for all the world to see, because we've got to fix it, and we've got to fix it now. That's why the vote happened. And now it's up to the Senate Democrats. So while your passion is shared by myself, the president, and the American people, we need to focus that vitriol towards the folks in the Senate who have refused to address this problem and will not take a vote to protect the American people.
What are they afraid of? Why won't they take the vote, number one? And number two, why are they going home for Christmas and the president staying in the White House working?
The president wants to fix this, so he's going to stay here. He's not going home to Mar-a-Lago. He's not taking a vacation like the senators are. That's a great point that you're making, but I don't know why Senate Democrats are opposed to this. You played the clips of them in the past. This is Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Chuck Schumer, all voted for a fence in 2006, a fence in 2013,
right,
and none of it ever came to fruition. You mentioned the heroin crisis we face in this country as well. $230 billion we spend on it, 300 deaths a week in this country because of it. You mentioned the fentanyl. ICE has seized enough to kill everybody in this country. 50,000 children a year are smuggled into this country. It is a burgeoning business, a disgusting business, for people to exploit children and use them to get across our southern border, to use women in a manner for abuse and sexual assault all along the way. 2/3 of those women experience that. All that being said, at the very least, you should want to stand up and protect the American people. Democrats, as you saw in that Oval Office, let me just make this point, Judge. You saw Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi. It was a watershed moment. They stood up collectively and said, as a Democrat Party, we are standing with hundreds of thousands of people who are here illegally and unlawfully, as opposed to hundreds of millions of American citizens. That's got to stop. The president wants to work with them. He does not want to shut down. We have to get something done to protect the American people and keep the government open.
All right, Hogan Gidley, you covered it all. Thanks so much for being with us this evening, and Merry Christmas to you, Hogan.
Merry Christmas to you. Thanks, Judge.